East Coast, and hello, friends in between. Welcome, everyone, to our 15th in a series of Denticon webinars. Today's all about Perio charting made easier. My name is Kathleen Lee. I'm the Director of Customer Care here at Planet EDS. Today is Wednesday, March 29th, 2017, and I hope it's a great day for you all. Today's topic, Perio charting, will be presented by the lovely Charmaine Biershank, my Assistant Director of Customer Care, and a great resource of knowledge not only in Denticon, but in many aspects of the dental field. Thank you, Charmaine. As you may know, the webinar format is a 45-minute presentation of the topic with 15 minutes of Q&A. Now, after the webinar, a recording will be sent to you all for replay and review, and it will be posted. Thank you, my Vanna White Charmaine, showing us where that webinar is going to be posted, because it will be posted as well in the help portal for easy reference for any of your team members. So anybody that didn't come, you say, gee, they should have showed up for this one. This is a good one. You can point them to this webinar. By the way, if you missed this webinar, it's going to be sent to you as well, the recording. So even if you didn't attend, you're going to get a copy of the recording. Now, note that you're all on mute, but you can ask questions in the questions chat section, and I'll be monitoring the chat while Charmaine presents. So you might want to hold your questions to the end, since we may address your question, and I don't want you to miss out on the content as it's being covered. We have registered 121 registrants today, so great turnout. By the way, if we don't happen to get to your question directly, please submit a ticket in the help portal. And this way you can ask a very specific question about a specific patient, about a specific chart. We'll reach out to you directly. So thank you so much. All right, so now Perio. We in the industry, we know that the most common reason for tooth loss is, drumroll, periodontal disease. And so hence the periodontal chart is the opportunity to track periodontal health. I really admire the precision and details involved in performing the perio probing. Wow, I mean, talk about really detailed and really specific. Good for you, folks. Denticon has some nice features such as voice activation to help the hygienist perform the perio charting without the need of an assistant to record the probing values. We also have templates that allow each hygienist to chart in the way that he or she prefers. Comparing charts is a feature that allows you to show the patient the improvements, we hope, right, in their charts based on previous visits. So the Perio chart in Denticon is easy to use, and we're coming up with additional new features. So again, as I mentioned, 2017 is the year of clinical, and in Perio charting, we're coming up with new additional features to make charting more efficient and load even quickly, right? We want to save nanoseconds. So without further ado, on to Perio charting made easy. Thank you so much, Charmaine. Go for it.
Thank you, everyone. We're glad you're here. And if you've been in any one of our webinars, you know that we always like to get an understanding about who you are, who's attending, so that we can, number one, be more responsive to your needs as a user of Denticon, and also just lets us be a little bit more proactive in our features, in our program, in what we offer, how we respond to people. So we're going to take a couple of really quick polls throughout the session. We do appreciate your quick response to that so that we can go forward. Looks like we are getting a very good response off of those, and we certainly do really very much appreciate that very, very much. Very good. Awesome. Yay. Fantastic. Well, let's just go ahead and close that poll real quick, because it does look like that it has slowed down. We really appreciate it. And let's just share you that information that you just weighed in on. So it looks like we're just almost neck and neck. It's coming down to the wire on the horse race that we are just even with single locations and also multi-location practices. Multi-location is just beating it out at the nose of the wire. So we welcome everyone here. We certainly do appreciate it. So here's what we want to do as well. We want to answer the big question, as Kathleen referenced: how can I set up my dental organization? Come on, let's go. Show my screen. There we go. That's what we want you to see. How can I set up my dental organization so that it's easier to record my patient's perio chart? Kathleen referenced perio charting is a great, valuable way for us to allow the dental organization to specify the patient's treatment, give some rationale about why we need to do the things that we want to do to that patient, justify to insurance why we want to do those things, why it's necessity to do, for instance, scaling and root planing, or that there's additional need for additional perio-type surgeries and treatments and so forth. So very good. So as Kathleen referenced, we've got the ability to set up your account, and it would be account specific. That allows you to be able to define the way that that perio chart works. So let's just go take a look, first of all, at the setup, the heart and soul about how Denticon perio can work for you in your office. And this is actually, we'll call it a simplistic screen. We've got one option for setup. Okay, really easy that we like. It's only one place. So right here, I've got a default template that Denticon provided for every single office, exactly, by the way that the office, the default has been presented to everyone, with one minor change to your default. Perhaps your office account does not have this line. We're going to address that a little bit further down the webinar today. That deals with, drum roll, perio charting by voice. So by default, this line is not there until our team activates that feature for your account, and you've got that ability to interact to that line. So we do get tickets periodically from accounts that say, hey, perio voice just isn't working. It says it's not connecting. It's not having an ability to reach to a perio voice. Well, first of all, number one, did you ask our team to activate that perio charting for voice? Number two, if we did activate that for you from your ticket, do you have this screen address according to our guideline? But we're going to sidebar that for just a moment. Kind of disregard that for a minute, just like the Wizard of Oz told Dorothy and her friends, please disregard the man behind the curtain for a moment. Very good. What we're going to face here is this ability to control the way that the perio charting moves in the patient's sequence. So right now it says that the first step in listing that it's going to go to tooth 1 through 8 on the facial buccal side. Then it's going to go to 9 to 16, so that gets my maxillary facial buccal arch. And then it's going to go to the lingual teeth of the maxillary arch, going to 16 to 9 and making its way over to 1. And in the default parameters, by the way, this Denticon was originally programmed in an exact numerical sequence of numbers, not necessarily logical teeth in some offices. It dropped to 17 on the buccal and facial side. Well, a lot of people said, I really don't want that. Can I make it move in a different way? So this default was going 1 to 16 facial buccal, moving into the lingual 16 back to 1, and then popping back over to tooth 17 on the right-hand side, going buccal to facial, and moving lingual all the way back to tooth number 1. So I think, tooth number 32. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. I also can have, some people like to have that sequence. Some other people, hygienists in my office, prefer it to be a different way. You can add multiple templates, just as you're seeing add new. Well, I'm going to pretend that my office is a copacetic office. They're all consistent with the way that they want to operate. I'm just going to leave it named default template. I certainly could rename that if I desire. And in this case, I want to start moving some things around in this auto advanced function here. I'm going to say, actually, write these first 4 entries. They're absolutely correct. I wanted to go 1 to 16, 16 to 1. But then I want it to drop down to the facial side of 32. So I'm going to make that radial selection there, move that item up in sequence, and then I want it to go to 24 to 17 facial side, buccal side. And then I want it to be this one going into the lingual, move that up, and then I want it to finish out on the lingual, making its way to tooth number 32. So in this case, it's going to go maxillary arch, facial buccal side. Then it will go to the lingual side of the maxillary arch, drop down to the mandibular arch on the facial buccal side, 32 to 17, and then make its way lingually on that, the maxillary, mandibular arch. I'm getting myself ahead of myself. Sorry about that. Getting in the mandibular arch there for that last 4 sequences. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to ensure that if I have added a new default or for someone or a couple of people, and I want to make it easier on them to use the one that they want to use by default, Then I'm going to go to Setup, I'm going to go to Security, and I will go to Users. And per user entry right here, I'm just going to pretend it's me. I'm going to be able to define what my user defaults to. So if it says Sally Sue special template right here, then Sally Sue, being me, Charmaine, can be assigned to a specialized template by default. Even if I don't do that, no worries. When I get to the Perio charting, I'm going to be able to define that usage of a specialized template according to the time I'm entered it. That's no big deal. All right? If it helps them out to have a default, absolutely. Does it be defined? Does it have to be? No, but let's do our hygienists and staff a huge favor to be able to do that. All right. So again, we're going to skip over that for just a second because we really want to go to first grade first to learn how do we do Perio charting in our offices. So the question is, how many of you do Perio charting? So let's do a real quick poll. How many of you in your offices do use Perio charting for your patient record? As we've talked about, it just makes it so easy to justify treatment to the patient, justify treatment to the insurance carrier, and so forth. Looks like we have got an overwhelming quick response to that. We certainly appreciate that. Let's share that with you real quick. Right there, overwhelming. We love you. Kudos, high five, grand applause, fireworks and bells and whistles. Most all of you do. Some of you are a little unsure. That's okay. That's all right. It's a great conversation topic for you in your office. That's all right. So let's go there. Let's go into our patient record. Here we go. Perfect. All right. Looks like it was a little delay on sharing that response to you. Sorry about that. So right here, I've got my patient record. We're going to do it old style. We're going to go old school, paper and pen in a way, but paper and pen being on the screen. We're going to access that patient's Perio charting. I'm going to quickly click that white solid tooth. It's got the little hash marks, pretending that they are pocket depth measuring. There's a little visual there. And be able to quickly access. Now that message, yeah, that's a really misunderstood message. I still have my self-help portal active and open, pretending that I was going to research something in here. It says I've been idle for a while. Do I want to continue? Well, actually I do in this case, because right here on this screen of looking for my Perio charting topics, it tells me that I can do keyboard shortcuts when we start talking about manually entering our Perio charting. So it kind of came that in a nice logical sequence of time. We love that it did. It also tells me that how do I chart my Perio conditions, and it gives us step-by-step guidance, where to go, how to mark it, and so forth. Well, now that I am finished with that little help portal, I can kick that out of the way. Again, that little 10-minute warning of logging out is only for the help portal. It's not Denticon. It's the help portal that you still have active. All right, good topic. Good opportunity to share a few things. So right here, I have my patient, Catherine Cleves, and I want to enter a new exam for this patient. I want to run right over here to my left-hand side, and here is where I would be able to select a different template beyond what is defined as my default. So there you go. That's where it comes into play. So I want to do my new exam. Click that new exam button right there. It allows me to now start activating the entries, start entering, and you notice that pocket depth is the darker button of all of these measurement values, meaning that's exactly what I'm going to start measuring from the very start. And it's going to draw it in this graphic right here, a vertical line. If the parameters that we record in the measurements are within our default parameters of, hey, Perio's good, then it's going to draw that portion in black. Anything that is beyond our default parameter of a warning sign draws it in red, and it will also record the number in the grid to the in red as well. So I can, if I want to, just click my little numbers here, 0, 1, 3, 5, 4, 2, whatnot. You notice that my vertical highlighter measurement bar just automatically advances when I click those numbers. Now, we looked at those in the help portal. Can I use keyboard shortcuts? Absolutely. I can use the numbers on my keyboard and just start entering those numbers by my keyboard. And make sure actually that my number lock is on. Make sure that that's happening. It looks like it's a little cranky on my number keyboard there. So very good. That just really seems like it's really defaulting on that. Let's go there. Number clock. It worked a few minutes ago. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it wants to respond. Thank you very much, keyboard. Love to have that technology is a little cranky and fussy occasionally, but it works. There we go. We can pass that. So you're seeing that I'm intentionally putting some really high values of perio warnings just to show you that there are some opportunities to see that visually. Oh, wonderful. Now, when I get to the lingual of 32, it's going to automatically, on my measurement location there, it's going to pop right where I really want it to be, and that's the vertical highlighter bar at the distal buccal of number 1, allowing me to consider that now I want to record my free gingival margin in a horizontal red line, or in other words, recession or gingival overgrowth, hyperplasia. You notice the buttons on the right some have plus signs, some do not. The ones with plus signs mean that there is gingival overgrowth or hyperplasia. The ones without plus signs means that that's gingival recession, or that the gingiva is moving into the root area of that tooth. You'll notice it's also pushing and pulling the pocket depth measurements right along with it, so that we're getting a better overall idea health of that tooth. And again, it's moving in my defined sequence that I want, letting me be able to define that very easily, very quickly, very efficiently, moving that in the manner that I want it to be. Perfect. Now, along the way, I might have, and I can continue marking those free gingival margins, but in the interest of time, we'll just let that go right now. If along the way I'm making a noticeable bleeding point on my patient's tooth, I can, wherever that vertical highlighter bar is, I could, old style, the way the Denticon was originally programmed, I could click the bleeding button and I could say, yep, it's on at that point, and it drops a little red dot right on that location that I just measured. On again, on again. But here's the thing. Along the way, if I'm measuring, say, pocket depth, and I recognize that there's a bleeding point at that location, I do not necessarily bleeding. I can just click the B on my keyboard, B for bleeding, and it drops that red dot on there. Same thing about suppuration. We used to make you click the suppuration button, click the on button to say, yes, there's a suppuration indicator. We no longer make you do that. We allow you to, drumroll, S, suppuration, drop an S on your keyboard, and it'll populate that yellow dot. Now, what happens if there is a suppuration point and a bleeding point at that same location? Fantastic. We allow you to see both of those because they're double stacked. Those little images, the yellow dot and the red dot, are superseded right on top of each other, that they are just stacked right there, not superseding rather, but they are stacked on top to allow you to see both conditions at the same time. Fantastic. Cool deal. I hope that you like that. Now let's pretend that we've got all of our measurements along the way and we want to do furcation. And so we're going to put our cursor right at the top of tooth number 1, and we've got 4 classes. Denticon is a bit unique that it allows you to record a class 4 furcation. So let's just go down at class 1 right there, draws the indicator right outside the root tip for you. The little V indicator. Class 2 is, of course, the triangle. Class number 3 in standard notation is the enclosed filled-in triangle. Class 4 is the diamond. So if you choose to do the class 4, you certainly can. You notice that it skipped from tooth 3 to tooth 5 because tooth number 4 is not a multi-rooted tooth. It therefore knows not to record a furcation mark for something that's not multi-rooted. And so I can just continue making my markings. Notice that on the maxillary arch, on the molars, that there are 2 measurements on the lingual aspect, because that's just the way that those molars are created to be in our dentitions. And so we've got 3 opportunities for furcations on those first, second, and third permanent molars. Mandibular arch does not. It only has the ability for just the 1 measurement per tooth on those molars. Fantastic. And we're right back to where we started. Wonderful. And some offices do like to do mobility as well. right there. We change that function to mobility, and we can mark whatever it is. I'm just going to work my way down the line of those, giving you that opportunity that every one of those mobilities has a red box on the crown area, letting you see that visually. So it's a wonderful way to record our perio chart, and making that template move in the manner that we desire. It's fabulous, right? We love it. Perfect. All right. And so this is a little preview about what we're about to look at. The start voice looks like it is disconnected right now, so that it's right now not a functional part of my perio charting. So I may not have gone in the right sequence that our guidelines tell you in our help and support entry. And maybe I haven't really taken all the steps to activate that. So if you do see this, there are a couple of things we're about to show you that you're going to need to address, need to take care of, so that you do have the ability to do voice perio. Cool. We love it. All right, so just speaking in that, segueing into that topic, guess what? Our next poll. How many of you do already use the voice feature for perio charting? Very good. Very good. Getting a good response, quick response. It looks like some people are still weighing in on that. We encourage you to get that going. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Wonderful. Good deal. Awesome. Yay. All right. Looks like we are, well, it's quite slowed down. Tell you that response that shared a poll right there. Whoops. Skip through. There it is. It goes. That overwhelming majority of you right now are not using it. That's okay. I hope that with this presentation, you're going to be able to go to your administrators, your powers that be, your dentist owner, whoever's in charge of your account, your dental organization. Say, hey, look, we found something here in the webinar that's really enticing, really wonderful. We really hope that we can maybe start doing that. And so we hope that you do. We hope that you encourage them to do that for you, because that is the way that we need to do. Make your lives a whole lot easier. Well, let's just go take a look at our help and support screen. We're right here. Show that. There. I'll hide that poll, let you see where I'm going there. Right here in help and support, we've got a document that allows you the understanding about how to work the perio voice command. Okay, so right here in this section, there's a link for installation that you'll need to install. And here's you a great, wonderful user guide that allows you quick information about how to run that voice installation. So read a little bit. It's really quick. It's really easy. There's our home page for that. Opens that up for us. Gives us a table of contents. You've got to have some requirements, of course, as does every software in the world. So you've got to make sure that your requirements are met, that we get all those things set up and so forth. And it's very easy, as you're seeing, to follow along step-by-step guidance. Great screenshots to guide you how to do it. And then how. Here you go. User guide. How are we going to be able to configure that there? So right there, we're going at the same place we started today. Going to setup, going to charting, going to perio template. We're going to select the template name, and in this image graphic, it shows us there are several template names. They've edited it or started to edit it, making sure that the check mark box is check marked. Yes, absolutely. If it's not check marked, make sure you do, okay? If that check mark box is not available at this, please contact us. Please send us in a ticket. Please let us know you want this feature activated in your account. And it is group specific. It's for everyone in a multi-location practice. So one set, one start. It's there for you. Fantastic. But it is specific to the template. Okay. So that is the key. All right. So how do we run? So it tells us that we need to start the Denticon voice command app from the notification area. Well, that's this part way down here in the lower right-hand corner. I'm going to show my hidden icons. And it's this little guy that looks like headsets. And I understand, regrettably, in this GoToMeeting that it's a gray icon on a gray background. So very sorry that you might not be able to see it, but the hover tip is telling you exactly what I'm selecting. Denticon voice command application. All right, very good. I'm going to right-click that, making sure that it is started. If for some reason it looks like this, you need to click the start button. All right, so that will allow my voice activation to begin on my computer. So that's a computer-related thing right there. All right, very good. So now we're going to go to the charting and the Perio chart. We're going to start that voice activation for that patient. If everything is fine, as it says, the connection will open and show us that, rather than what we previously saw on a patient saying that it was a disconnected service. All right, very good. So we're going to go in, do a lovely account right here. Let's just go grab someone else real quick. We don't want to mess with the person we just worked on. We're going to pick Mr. Ray Roberts here. We're going to go to his Perio charting, and we are going to start, oh, yay, exciting time. We're going to go through our voice charting. So right here, again, I'm going to go to my new exam. I'm going to create a new exam for this patient. Yes, absolutely. And I'm going to click that Start Voice button just as it told me I should in my user guide. All right, so I'm going to say it's pocket depth. That's where we're at. It defaults there. I'm going to say 1, and that actually should, there we go. It misread one of my voice commands. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 1, 2, 3. Fantastic, yeah? Perfect. Very good. And it just read my voice just being over the internet. Yeah, it likes that little measurement of 24. Wow. Because I said something that sounded to it like 24. If I make a mistake, just click my button, my mouse cursor right there. 6. Very good. It changes it. 8, 7, 4, 3. Perfect. 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 All right. So if I want to say bleeding, on. Bleeding, on. Suppuration, on. Free gingival margin. There you go. Got my little, there you go. FGM. Perfect. Changes that to it. I just put my mouse cursor over it, so we've got a free there. 1. It changed to deprecation. It misread my voice. My bad. 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 5, 6, 1, and you get the idea. So it reads to you. If I say now I want to go to a particular tooth number, jump 9. Perfect. And it puts it exactly where I want it. Suppuration, on. Back, previous, pocket depth, 6, FGM, 7. So you're seeing very easily how, and I'm going to stop that so it doesn't accidentally recognize a word that I didn't mean it to be a number. It does get sometimes a little cranky when we're doing a live presentation such as this. But you're seeing that it's very easy to start doing that pocket depth, the free gingival margin, the furcations, the suppurations, and so forth along the way in voice activation. So let's just go take a look. Oh, yep, there it is. That's exactly what I wanted. Here, how to use it. What are my commands? So I say new exam to actually activate the button for new exam. Pocket depth to activate pocket depth button here that we were seeing. FGM to start the FGM free gingival margin and commanding my numbers, +1, +501, 8, so on and so forth. Those things are an example from our user guide. Very good. So you've got a nice handy reference right there about how to go to particular locations in that Perio charting all by voice. So we've learned we can hand key things off of the keyboard. We can do them by the buttons on the screen. We can do things by voice. And so it's actually very, very wonderful, very easy to get those things accomplished. It does in the installation tell you that you do need to have a headset to be connected to your computer. So it does work, and so it only gets you and your voice and not the outside voices of all of those people who are in the operatories in the hallways and on the phones and so forth, making sure that it only reads your voice, not anyone else's. All right? So we encourage you to use that. It also just allows you to be a little bit more private for that patient in the operatory as well, using the headset, you and the person in the chair, and your headset with the computer. So it just makes it a little bit more privacy, a little bit more HIPAA compliant for all of those. Now, I want to address, how do I change something? And what I've done in this patient's case, a little earlier today, I went into his account, pretending he had an appointment today. He came in for perio charting, and I made some measurements for him. And I look back at that and I go, whoa, that's really not what it should be. I accidentally made a wrong entry in his in his perio charting, and I need to correct it. Well, all day today, I can make a change. Night, approximately 11:30 Pacific Standard Time, where all the data is captured, held, resided, protected, secured, backed up, all those good, wonderful things on your behalf. Once that data is locked up for the day, you cannot change a previous date perio charting because it's locked into place, just like your progress, just like your medical history. So are the perio charts locked up for the day. But up until that time, 11:30 Pacific Time, which is 1:30 in the morning Central Time, which is 2:30 in the morning Eastern Time, and gosh, I hope by that time all of us across the country are already in bed. Our folks in Hawaii, you may still be finishing out your day, so you're a little nudged up to the edge of the wire there, but we do have to have a stopping point. All right, so how do I make a change to any measurement that I had previously recorded today? And if we notice, right here in the upper right-hand corner, it says my date of service was today. So I can say, actually, instead of that being a pocket depth 6, it was actually a pocket depth 4, just like the other one, and that one was accidentally entered as 5. I'm changing that to 4 as well, and maybe even my free gingival margin was really not that pronounced, not that wide. It was really a 3, 3, 3. So I can go back in and change any particular measurement all day today, as long as it's today's date. So we do have to have a HIPAA compliance, a data security, a data integrity to allow that restriction to be able to change particular things in a perio chart. All right, so what happens, though, regrettably, we do see some of these things that, oops, I forgot to enter my perio charting for some reason. Well, I'm kind of curious as to how you know what the perio values are if you didn't record them somehow. Maybe you recorded them on paper. Perhaps you're also a conversion office that we do not bring over converted perio charts, but you want to have the previous date perio chart as a reference in Denticon. So we allow you to do that to a function. So once again, I'm going to go to another wonderful patient right here, Miss Nancy North. Access her patient record, her perio chart, and we can just enter her a new perio chart. We're going to do a new exam, effective, yes, today, for the moment. Periodic, the keyword is for the moment. And just for grins, I'm just going to click what's set my default to what is set up in my perio template, and I'm going to pretend that, yes, that's what they are. This is an imagination for this series, but of course, record the things that are actually true for that patient record, because again, this is our clinical legal record. We need to prove the things we need to prove. All right. And so it does in the default say for every tooth. So right here for a missing tooth, I'm going to say 0, 0, 0, and that 0, 0, 0. Defaults are actually hard defaults, regardless if the tooth is missing or not. So did a little cleanup for that. I want to say that this perio chart, now that all of my measurements are entered, now that I have everything in, actually, there we go. I am going to say that this actually was for a previous date. You would put your measurements in, get it all recorded, and then change your date here to a different date. So what we want to do is the exam details right here, I'm going to say, yes, it's created on this date. I cannot in any way change that because that's Denticon's protection for HIPAA compliancy, data integrity. We have to know when it was actually created. But we can change the date of service. Perhaps this was March 1 instead of today's date, March 29. I can write my notation right here, failed to move Perio chart from paper copy on actual POS. There we go. So I've got a notation about why it's different than the creation date. And notice as well, I can also void an exam if I need to. I'm not going to avoid this one. I'm going to save that one. It tells me when I look at that Perio date of service that it's got a little star. Hey, wait a minute, there's something going on here. That might not really be the case. Click that button that has a big red asterisk star and go, oh, yeah, that was really created on a different date. And why? I gave myself a notation. That's what it is. Perfect. So if I did decide to void that exam, it leaves it there. I can save that information. It says that's not a valid date of service. Don't really look at that. Don't click it. Don't look at it. It's bogus. If I need to go, whoops, never mind, just like my progress notes, I can unvoid the exam right there on my command. So it's a toggle back and forth. Is it active or not? So there we go. We've got a lot of controls right there in that patient's Perio chart. Good. All right. So how in the world might we be able to present our numbers to the insurance carrier for what we've recorded? How do we prove that we did this? Or how do we even provide these numbers in a report to a specialist to whom we want to send this patient? And so what we're going to do is this wonderful, beautiful button right here that says Print Reports. A reminder from our previous sessions, this listing is unique to only this patient. It's the absolute best, phenomenal, exceptional, outstanding, wonderful way to print these single documents for that single patient right there on the screen, right there on our list, Perio chart. And so we're going to do the one and only date of service I have for that patient, which is our rigged, our manipulated date of service exam right there. Print preview that. It's not going to print the pictures of the pretty little teeth because insurance doesn't really care what those look like. They're just looking to see that you did your due diligence to ensure that you recorded the values in that patient's chart. They're just looking to see if you did your job. Specialists that you send the patient to, they're just looking for the numbers as a quick review. They know what those pictures of those pretty little teeth look like. They just want to see where the outliers may be. They want to see what numbers, what date you did that for. And so there you go. It does not, again, print the pictures of the pretty little teeth. Now, some people do, yes, desire to print the pictures. That's okay. In that regard, you would be able to do a screenshot of only exactly what you're seeing. So if you're wanting to present the pocket depth on your graphic portion, this is a right now.
This session is being recorded for audio issue reporting.
Very good. I'm getting a message in my ear from the conference center. My apologies for that delay in my response to you. So I just wanted to delay waiting for that message to finish in my ear. Sorry, folks. If you want particular things on that screenshot, make sure you've got the selection here with what you want to see on the graph numbers. All right? And so right here, I want to prove what my pocket depth happened to be. That's what this icon here in the far upper right-hand corner, the print screen. It's a computer screen command, a computer-based print. And it would do everything on your computer. It would print the title bar. It would print the icons. It would present to you on the printout anything that's open in your open applications at the bottom of your screen as well. So every single thing in this screen. Again, right now,
Audio issue recording has finished.
Very good. All right. So we've covered lots of ways about how we present those numbers to the patient, how we can get those numbers. We want to review, why do we want to use Perio charting features? Well, number one, it's for efficiency. How can we get our numbers in the quickest, easiest, fastest way? How do we do that? Faster, easier recording of our measurements. How can we get a better legal treatment record to prove our findings to insurance and to the patient? And it's also a great way to educate our patients. Hey, you have a really deep pocket. You have a really deep recession. We really need to take care of that before you lose that tooth. And we're all vain in this world. We like to keep our teeth. We like to hang on to the teeth that we were given. Let's make it easy for our patients to do so by showing them what we have. And so we hope that you enjoy that. We hope that you do use Perio. And even as we said, you do use it. Majority of you do. And we hope that you are encouraged to be able to use the voice activation. Well, Kathleen, we've exhausted the topics that we thought that we were going to cover. Are there any questions that have come in from our viewers here?
Sure. As a matter of fact, one question that we have, a good one, they want to know, is there a charge for Perio voice activation? So good question. And luckily, of course, the answer is no. So voice activation is a part of your Denticon package, although you do have to request that it be activated for you. How do you do that? Like Charmaine said, you go to Help Portal, submit a ticket, and say, please activate voice charting, Perio charting. Another question that we had was, do we recommend a particular headset? And so the answer is actually we don't. We here at Support use headsets every day, all day long when we take calls and make calls. Through our computer, we use a Logitech headset, but really there is no recommendation. It's really what's comfortable for you, what feels good, what fits your head, and of course how much you want to pay for a headset. So there's really no recommendation that we have. Dr. Wunderlich, he's asking about CAL, so it's just about to answer that question, but maybe, Charmaine, if you take a second to show where CAL is actually displayed and calculated.
Right. It is automatically calculated based on your pocket depth and your free gingival margin values. It will automatically calculate the CAL for you on the report. It does not show you on the patient's record, but it does show you in the report. Let's just go grab our wonderful guy that has a great roller coaster, so to speak, off his Perio chart. Show you his report there on the screen. But it is the CAL, the clinical attachment loss, is pre-calculated on the reporting. It does not show you on the graphic screen. Got a very vast graphic screen there, so it does take a little bit to load on his, especially the go to webinar meet session does slow things down a bit. So he's, again, got some wonderful measurements here for us to review, some pocket depth, some random wonderful roller coasters of free gingival margin. And so we see that pocket depth along with free gingival margin calculates to the CAL. 3 pocket depth, 1 free gingival margin, a 4 CAL, clinical attachment loss. Sliding over here to tooth number 14, you've got a 3 pocket, a 3 free gingival margin, a 6 CAL. You've got a 1 pocket here on the distal portion of tooth number 14. You've got a pocket, and this is of course on the facial side here as well. So you've got a 1 pocket, you've got a free gingival margin recording of 3, so that equals 4. Great question, Dr. Wunderlich. We appreciate that very much.
Yep, Dr. Boulos wants to know, Dr. Julie Boulos wants to know if you have to remove your mask in order for the system to hear you. Stacy had asked, do you even have to use a headset? And so I test without a headset. So the answer is no, but really you need to kind of do a little pre-test in your environment to see how that works with extraneous noise. But I don't. You can hear phones ringing and things popping up on my IM. So I don't use a headset when I was testing. But in terms of, do you have to remove your mask? I think it depends really on the headset, and you might have to try and test it. Charmaine, I don't know if you have any feedback that you've had from our other users about masks and headset being able to recognize and hear your voice through the mask.
Clinically, of course, we would want to use a mask for germ control, hygiene control, bacteria control. Again, I would test it, Dr. Bolus, to see if your voice can be heard through the mask very cleanly and plainly to get the proper measurements into the patient's perio chart. If you're able to keep your mask on closer to your face and the headset on the outside of your mask, fantastic and wonderful. You'll just have to don that thing and go about your way. If, though, it's having a little difficulty to make it through your mask, then you might want to figure a way to sneak that microphone headset, the little microphone headpiece, not headpiece, but the little mouthpiece, inside your mask to be able to pick your voice up very efficiently. It also has to do, as far as picking up your voice, it has to do with, are you clear and clean and precise? Are you loud enough for it to hear you? Or are you whispering? Do you have a very timid, quiet voice versus something that booms out into the world a little bit louder? All
Erin,
the other
yeah. Charmaine,
yeah.
Erin Van Dusen, so thank you so much, Erin. She's giving a comment. We really appreciate it because we learn from our users. We only play you on television. So she says, can't use a cone mask, but can use the other. So thank you so much, Erin, who lives it, for your feedback and your help on that. I answered to Dr. Bullis that I would ask some of our other users that are using Perio voice activation about their experience. I haven't heard any feedback about issues or challenges, but thank you very much, Erin. Can't use a cone mask, but can use the other. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Eileen Geyer, she's asking, if you wear loops, how can you wear a headset for voice activation? So I don't see a conflict there. Charmaine, do you have any reply to that? You know, the headset, in terms of what you wear, you could wear it around your ear to come around your mouth. I don't know how obstructive the headset, so to speak, for the loops and the headset for voice actually interact with each other. I don't know if anybody else has any answers there. Thank you, Erin. If you have one, that'd be appreciated. But anybody have any comments for Eileen, who's asking, hey, if you wear loops, how can you wear a headset for voice activation? Like I said, there are ones that you can wrap around your ear. Any feedback do you have? She says, Erin, thank you, love you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Erin Van Dusen, thank you, says headset goes over the loops. And that's what I thought, but I appreciate that. I don't think it should be an obstruction for you, Eileen. And thank you, Erin, for letting us know. So headset goes over the loops. It shouldn't be a challenge.
Very good. I love the questions. Great.
Hey, thank you, Erin, for being here.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then Adrian Navin, she asks, what number should we chart for root tips? Not too sure of that answer. Sorry, Adrian.
I'm not for sure the question. Which number would it be? Pocket depth, free gingival margin, furcation? Help us out a little bit there. We're not really clear on what your question really truly is.
So Linda, yeah, sorry, Adrian. So we'll, if you can help us with that, that'd be awesome sauce. Linda, who asked, is it free? She's asking, hey, I stepped away. Must you use a headset for voice command? And the answer is no, you don't have to. I test without it. But again, I'd recommend that you test in the environment that you're in, which will be easy, right? You don't have to buy a headset. Test and see how it works in a live environment to see if there is a challenge not using the headset. I don't when I test. I have a headset as well, but I've been able to use it without it. And so Adrian comes back and she says pocket depth. So what number should we chart for root tip and pocket depths?
Well, what would you do now? if you were just writing down a number, it should be the same number in the perea charting for here. I would presume, unless we're missing part of your question. Maybe we're not truly understanding what that might be.
So what we can do, Adrian, is maybe we can reach out to you directly and answer your question, you know, one-to-one, and be a little bit more loving and caring and specific and get a little bit more feedback.
Yeah, well, we're curious as to what that really means. So I'm going to presume a little bit here is that we've got a missing crown, so obviously all we have are root tips. And so when we look at our pocket depth, our perio charting, then we would be able to do a pocket depth, let's say 4, 4, 4. I would presume that's what you're inquiring. If it's not, again, we can reach out to you and talk with you one-on-one about what your specific question may be, or get a little bit more clarification from you. We're looking forward to learning from you, absolutely. Perfect.
Okay, so I'm looking to see if we have any other questions. No, I don't see any other. Let me see ones that were, Willa Cosmore, I already answered that. Oh, so Stacy Hallich asked, will this still work effectively if the computer monitor is behind me? So I answered basically, as long as your voice can be heard, it should work. So once again, I'm going to have to say you need to test it in your very specific environment to see how and what will work. But placement of monitors shouldn't matter as much as it being able to hear your voice and record that what it hears. Any comments, Charmaine, to that?
No, I would totally agree with that. Test it out in your own environment. Denticon itself, our team does not understand the noise levels in your operatories in your offices, and the computer itself picking up sounds cleanly versus a little muddled or so forth. But again, just test it out. Just test it out. See what it looks like for you.
Okay, I'm getting from Dr. Wunderlich, hello. Retained primary teeth don't seem to be perio chartable. Ooh, interesting. You want to test that out for us? We love the feedback from our clients. That's how we find our owies and our gotchas, through our clients, so thank you. So retained primary teeth don't seem to be perio chartable. Let's try that out.
Correct. All right. So let's just say that maybe tooth number 27 here is unerupted deciduous tooth right there. Perfect. Wonderful. We should reference as well, real quick, and I should have done it at the beginning, my bad. We presume that you know a lot more, maybe we shouldn't. But at the very minimum on your restorative charting, make sure that you mark the missing teeth, as we saw tooth number 6 here already was for this lady, so that it will skip over a missing tooth, okay? So that is a very minimum on restorative charting. You don't necessarily have to do the guidance that we provided to you in the restorative treatment planning and so forth to always mark the pre-existing conditions of root canals and crowns and surfaces and so forth, but at the very minimum, mark your missing teeth so your perio chart will work much more effectively for you, because it'll skip right over those teeth. All right, very good. So right here we have tooth number R, as we said, instead of tooth 27. Put my cursor right there. We'll just start dropping those numbers. Oops, backwards on me because that's where it's meant to. Seems to be. Dr. Wunderlich, you're saying that does not occur, that it does not mark for deciduous teeth. We'll have to take a look at that with you, I'm sure.
I'm kind of staring there at the screen. So, yep. So, if you can give us some of the scenarios. Must have fixed it. Yay. Well, thank you for that, that slow ball there, Dr. Wunderlich. So if that was a challenge previously, if you gave us feedback, Dr. Wunderlich, through a ticket or directly, having tested perio charting for us, then yay. They must have fixed it, so I'm glad to see that. So yep, so it's relatively tight, but if some of the features have some challenges, as always, please put in a ticket, let us know, and we'll fix that sooner than later. Eileen asks, can you review how to chart a deciduous tooth? So if you want to go through that one more time, Charmaine, that would be awesome. Yay.
Once again, we go right here to our restorative charting, click the tooth outside the drawing of the tooth because it's a whole tooth related option. It's a whole tooth related item of occurrence, a situation. Go to the erupted button, select deciduous, and it's redrawn as a deciduous tooth and showing the letter for that particular location. Perfect. Good. Very easy to do. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Eileen, for a good question. Thank you, Charmaine, for showing. Okay, we got 4 minutes here at the top of the hour. Any other questions? I'm looking to see if there's something that we haven't reviewed. Did we talk, Charmaine, over carrying over previous perio probes from a previous chart to today?
We did, yes. We looked at one.
Yep. And then,
well, actually, I take that back. It was not one from a previous date. It was one from previous today.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Wunderlich is saying, nope, that was number 27, not the primary.
It is right here, tooth R.
Uh-huh.
Which is primary.
Right. One more time. Meanwhile, Linda's asking, while you show that, Charmaine,
and it is tooth R.
Yep. Not tooth 27, tooth R.
Very good.
So is there any way for marking arrestin on charting?
There is not at this time. Curiosity would be, how in the world would we draw arrestin? It's an application of something very much like fluoride. And fluoride's just not a drawable type thing in the charting. So if you could present to us some way, Linda, that you would expect it to be drawn, we can certainly take a look at that as a feature request for a feature enhancement to see what we might be able to implement. But because it's an application of medicine, it's a little difficult to draw that.
Yeah, what I usually, thank you, Charmaine. Yeah, and thank you, Linda. What I usually say is, look, if you folks who have probably used many different dental softwares, unlike us, we live in a vacuum here. And so we really rely on your feedback in terms of what you've seen. You're the real estate agent of dental softwares. You've got to see them all. So if you see a feature that another product has that you used, I'd love to be able to keep those bells and whistles and implement new features in Denticon. What we have is in the help menu is the ability to submit a feature request. And so what we'll also have the ability to do is to vote on feature requests, right? We get so many, and some are random, and some are not all that great, and some are fantastic, some are very popular. So we'll give you the ability to submit a feature request and vote on other people's feature requests that you might have thought of and said, hey, that's a really good idea. Exactly. And so you can vote on that. And what helps a feature become an actual, or a feature request become a feature, is the more details you can give to us, right? Because you guys are actually living this every day. So if you have screenshots from another software program to give us somewhat an idea of how maybe arrestin is drawn in another software program, that would really help us to come up with that feature quicker, faster, sooner. Or draw it out. I had somebody draw out something for me in the Perio chart, how they wanted to see values and such, and they did screenshots in Denticon, and they kind of tweaked things and wrote on things. So the more information, the more details you can give to us regarding a feature that you're looking for, we can turbocharge it to becoming a real feature because you've given us some of the steps to create that feature. So that would be really appreciated. So thanks, Linda. If you've got any feedback for how we can do showing arrestin on a Perio chart, that would be awesome sauce. Alrighty, guys, it's the top of the hour. Thank you, as always, for being here on the journey with us to learn more about Denticon. Really appreciate your feedback and your questions. We're as good as our fantabulous users. Have a great day, and we'll see you in about 4 to 6 weeks. Love you all.
Bye, everyone.